I've made 31 extremely quick tutorials in the last December, and this is a compilation. I hope you learned something new and have fun. Enjoy the marathon season 2. Did you know that in Factorio you can make nuclear power faster? It takes some time to set up everything for a nuclear power plant. You need to produce sulfuric acid, use it in the miners, process the ore and finally produce fuel for the reactors. Many players make this process even longer by using Kovarex process, which is a huge mistake. Kovarex enrichment process is a very expensive research. Building a processing facility also adds some time, and waiting for the very first 40 light green rocks is even worse. Reactors in Factorio require a very little uranium to work, so as soon as you make your first 235 green rock, you should use it as a fuel. You must still use Kovarex process at some point, because green rockets are the main source of democracy in Factorio. Just be careful while handling uranium, since a moment of carelessness might result in fuck. Did you know that in Factorio you can make your inventory bigger? There is easy and hard way to do it. Hard way is to simply build a nice base and research logistic bots. It will expand your inventory by a thrash slot, which you can use as a normal inventory if you are fast enough to outrun logistic bots. On the other hand, easy way can be used from the very beginning. Items which are used to craft something disappear from your inventory. Unlike a dad who went for milk 10 years ago, your items will come back if you cancel crafting queue. So start by crafting few items with long crafting time, like science packs or modules. Then craft something with items you wanna transport to make more space in your inventory. Just remember to cancel a crafting queue in time, and make sure your inventory is not full. Bleh! Did you know that in Factorio it was just a Geneva suggestion? There is many ways to talk with buyers in Factorio. Some of them are fine, like exchange of metals in a high velocity manner, or export of oil which is already burning for their convenience. But one of the best negotiation tools in my opinion are mines. Dedicate a small part of your factory to a harmless surprise box production. Stockpile as much as you can and load your whole inventory with it. Now you should walk, or better, drive around and look for biters which are in need of some gifts. When you find them, just toss around your mines and look how beautiful they work. You can use the construction planner to retake your mines after talking. If you don't do it, you can end up with kurwa. Did you know that in Factorio you need a lot of electricity? If you neglect expanding a power supply, you can end up in a death spiral loop. This is a situation when you have not enough electricity to run all the miners. Without all the miners mining coal, you have even less electricity, because you are starving your boilers. You usually realize something is wrong too late, and at that point it's extremely hard to fix. Instead of fixing, simply prevent it. When you enter bot stage, your electricity bills will go to the moon. The same goes with laser turrets, so be prepared. This is why you should prioritize all coal splitters to first go to boilers. It's also not a bad idea to build a coal buffer and use burner inserters in a few places. If you are being fancy, you can also connect your buffer chest to a speaker. Whatever you do, just make sure you have enough power for your Scheiße. Did you know that in Factorio, belts are just too overrated? Belts are the core mechanic in Factorio, so you can find them in almost all bases. However, you can build a perfectly working base without them. But with current electricity prices higher than Snoop Dogg himself, logistic bots base might not be the best solution. Instead, you should embrace a direct feeding to your machines. First, you need to check a radio and crafting time to find the best recipes. When you find something as good as, for example, engines and electric engines, you are free to build a factory with less belts. This design is way more compact and cleaner than a pure belt solution. Also, when you get to a very late game stage, you can change your train stations. Direct feeding to all your machines is simply more efficient. And whenever you're dealing with trains, you have to constantly look at bloody hell. Did you know that in Factorio, blueprints are easier than you think? When you finally research a construction robot technology, you are getting access to blueprints, which are the core mechanic of late game in Factorio. Press Alt B and select area you want to turn into a blueprint. On a new window you can see how your blueprint will look like. If you want to remove anything, just press right click on that item. To get the most of blueprints, you should use snap to grid setting. Absolute snap is the best for big constructions that has to be placed from a map view. Relative snap works the best for a small tillable components which you have to to reuse often. You can turn literally anything into blueprint and even send it as a normal text to your friend. However, be careful what blueprints you are importing, because you can end up with... Did you know that in Factorio you can craft faster? Each assembler has a different crafting speed, but more important, different amount of module slots. Use this knowledge by replacing old assemblers with new ones for a speed boost. It is as simple as placing new assembler on existing one. Speed modules also can be injected with ease. Just press Ctrl left click on assembler. Beacons, on the other hand, complicates everything, because you have to redesign your whole factory to use them. This is my green circuit production without any beacons. Like you can see, it's not good, and this is what you can achieve with a little bit of planning and a few beacons. If you want to build a mega base, beacon production is the only way to go. Just be careful what you are going to boost, because you can make some new enemies. I am not sorry. Did you know that in Factorio you can remove trash? There is no easy way of deleting items. You can throw them on the ground, but they will never disappear. The manual way of removing them is by crafting a chest and putting trash inside. Then you have to shoot it with a gun. However, manual solutions are not the way to play Factorio. Wood and ores are two of the most annoying trashes in your logistics system. To get rid of wood, simply build a small steam power plant and connect a field of radars to consume power. To remove ores, just set up one or more furnaces with a requester and active provider chest. It will turn useless ores into useful plates. There is one more way to remove trash, but if you are not careful you can... Did you know that in Factorio, Engineer can be even better? Each tier of power armor has a bigger equipment grid size, but even with the best power armor it's only 7 by 7 slots, which is not much. This is why you should create at least 3 armors and cycle through them when needed. First is an armor for talking, which should contain mostly lasers. Use for it is obvious. Second armor is for building stuff. Simply, with many robots, you will build everything way faster. Third armor is for running, so you should put as many legs as you can. And if you play modded, you can put even more legs.
Next to it, take all the leg. Take 100 leg.
What? 100 leg?
100 leg. You'll be one
you want,
speedy
you
boy.
want, Alright, well, I've...
Back to vanilla. Remember to always swap your armors instead of taking them off, because otherwise it will result in a mess. Aminakoy! Did you know that in Factorio, research is very easy? Fully working labs with all science packs are impressive. However, building it takes some time. Before you even start a new world, you have to change one setting, which is a research queue. It will allow you to queue up 7 researches at once, instead of picking a new one whenever you hear the sound. You will probably end up in a situation when you research faster than you build a factory. In this case, I recommend you to simply research low tier stuff with science you already have. You should also make a science buffer, so you will spot SAS machines not doing their tasks easier. And now, no matter what, you have to put productivity modules to your labs as soon as possible. Just remember to also queue up some bullets damage. Otherwise, you can end up with... Did you know that in Factorio you can remove spaghetti? Starter base is always a mess, and at some point you simply want to nuke it. However, it's better to use bots and tricks. Start by removing all input sources like incoming belts with items. Then you have to wait a bit until most resources will be used. Create a deconstruction planner with Alt D and open it with right mouse button. You should set a filter to leave power poles, roboports and logistics storage chests alone. Now just build a huge warehouse for deconstructed items and start deconstructing everything. You will be left with a skeleton of a base which can be easy deconstruct. Use recovered resources to build a brave new world. When you are deconstructing anything, just remember to don't deconstruct yourself. Did you know that in Factorio you can color everything? The easiest way to change a color of yourself is by using a comment. Press tilde, type /color and pick whatever color would you like to be. If you want to be more precise with your color, just go to your inventory and create your own custom color. Some buildings, like turrets, will change color to match your engineer. Also, when you jump to a car, it will change color to match your engineer. However, in case of Spidertrones or trains, you have to pick the colors by hand. If you want to color code your trains so color of materials is the same as locomotive, I recommend you to build a colors temple of templates. To use it, press shift right mouse button to copy a color and shift left mouse button to paste it. Whatever you do with the colors, just remember to don't stand on rails, because because did you know that in Factorio, furnaces are simply the best? I played many death worlds with my amphibian friend.
Should we start again? Sorry about that.
And I can guarantee you that sometimes you just need a wall. However, to craft walls, you first need to research them. What's more, you need a whole smelting facility to even start crafting them. Furnaces don't have such problems, because you can automate them from the very beginning. Use stockpile furnaces to build up provisional walls and be prepared for attacks. Furnaces are so cheap that you don't need to care about them. If one is destroyed, you can place 10 more on its place. It's also a very powerful distraction whenever you're being chased. While placing furnaces, you have to be careful to don't lock yourself in, because you can find good. Did you know that in Factorio you should go bigger? Beginners tend to build a very small bases, which is wrong. You should build as big as you can, because you will need more of everything later. Whenever you build something important like green circuits manufactory, remember to leave enough space for the later expansion. In the beginning, use them only to craft basic machines in your mall. However, later you need to use them to craft tons of red and blue circuits. If you don't leave enough space at the start, you will regret later. Space in Factorio is endless, so you don't need to worry about running out of it. And if you need more land, just talk about it with the murder. Did you know that in Factorio you should use ratios? Ratio is the amount of machines doing different tasks, which while working together achieve the perfect production speed. For example, to craft green circuits, you need to use 2 circuit assemblers and 3 copper wires assemblers, preferable with direct feeding. To make perfect steam power, use 1 pump, 20 boilers and 40 steam engine. Smelting column is 30 miners and 48 stone furnaces if you use yellow belts. Everything is fine with those ratios until you start using productivity modules. They modify production speed and yield, so you have to calculate everything by hand. To make everything easier, I recommend you this website. Just choose what item would you like to make and set how many of it you want to craft. You can customize everything in the settings and even visualize this production chain. Whatever you calculate, just remember to don't mess up any rate. Did you know that in Factorio you can have dedicated slots? It's sometimes hard to find items in your inventory. This is why you should use middle button in your mouse and reserve some slots. If you're using laptop and you don't have middle mouse button, then you have to cry about it. Reserve slots are very useful for trains wagons, because now you can make wagons for multiple materials or resources. Have you ever had an unpleasant incident with loading iron train with copper plates because you messed something up? No more! You can make your trains capable to only carry intended items. Use blueprints to copy your trains and paste them with the existing filters. You can also reserve slots in cars and always know what is missing before a trip, or even use them beyond science. I myself love to reserve slots in my inventory for construction bots, so I always know where they are. Draku. Did you know that in Factorio you can liquify your coal? Even so, taking land from biters is awesome, and taking their oil is even better. There are easier way for resources. Classic refinery takes oil and water as input to produce refined liquids. Coal liquefaction, on the other hand, needs steam, heavy oil and coal. It seems like a more complicated input, but if you build everything correctly, you will need to just connect coal and water, which is basically free. Use light oil for the most efficient solid fuel production. You need to turn it into steam, and it's simply more efficient than using coal. The most important part is to build a loop of heavy oil. Easy way to do it is by using circuit logic. If this tank has less than 10,000 oil, simply stop the output pump. You see, you can leave oil for biters, because they want to Did you know that in Factorio you should build sushi belts? If you are a sane person, you probably use belts to transport only 1 or 2 items at a time. However, you shouldn't limit yourself to only 2 items at a time. With some creativity, you can put as many items on a single belt as you wish. You can build it easier way with splitters, adding new items to the sushi belt. Or if you are proficient at circuits, you can use them to balance your sushi. It's good to use this strategy with items which are needed in small quantity, like resources needed to craft a blue science. However, the best use for sushi is in your labs, since you need to provide only 1 belt with all the science. Whatever you do, just don't sushi belt your furnaces, since the murder. Did you know that in Factorio you can use a city block design? Building spaghetti is the most common design for beginners. However, if you play long enough, you usually lean toward different design. Main bus is a great solution for early game and mid game, but it doesn't work that good in the huge mega bases. When you design your base using city blocks, you will quickly realize how easy it is to expand. If your base will be in need of any resource, you can just paste another block to fix it. It's crazy how easy it is to reuse already built stuff for the extra production. This design is also very flexible, because if one block is too small, you can simply connect a few blocks together for the extra space. When you are doing blueprint for a block, always set absolute snap to grid. It will make placing new blocks from a map view way easier. Just remember to design everything correctly, otherwise you'll end up with Kaninian.
Did you know that in Factorio you can do more with belts? Belts seems to be extremely easy to use. However, they have way more tricks than you think. For example, you can fit 2 blue belts in one space. If you use belt waving, just place every type of underground in one line. No worries, they will not mix with each other. Were you ever in a situation when you wanted to split a belt in half? You can easily do it with a single underground. Simply place it next to a belt and press R to rotate. It works for both belt sides. Whatever you do with the belts, just be careful when you transport explosive materials, because they come mass. Did you know that in Factorio you can do more with blueprints? It's not easy to unlock construction bots, but after you do it, you are playing a completely different game. Start by building a robots production and connect inserters to nearby roboports. Set up a logic to input bots only when you need them. Now you can just press Ctrl C to copy and Ctrl V to paste your designs. Use your mouse scroll to access things you copied before. You can also use your map view to place blueprints, or be far away and change recipes in existing machines. Another trick is to use blueprints to count your machines. Whatever you do with the bots, make sure they are safe and baka. Did you know that in Factorio you can kill biters faster? If you are not upgrading your defenses and not researching new military technologies, you will quickly realize how terrible is this idea. The higher biter tier evolution, the better armor and damage reduction they have. You know, small biter have 0 armor and behemoth has 12 flat damage reduction plus additional 10%. To build your defenses, you should consider what weapon would you like to have. Flamethrower is dealing the biggest damage, especially with the light oil as a fuel. However, it has a specific attack range and burning oil takes a lot of time to fly. Gun turrets are easy to start with and they can deal the highest damage when upgraded, but supplying them with ammunition is expensive in terms of your time and resources. Laser turrets are the easiest to build and they require only electricity to work, yet their damage output is not the best, so you have to place a lot of them to make them work. Whatever turret type you use, remember to always provide them with ammo for sun. Did you know that in Factorio, Spidertrones are a lot of fun? It's great to have your own Australian friend following you everywhere. However, Spidertron is extremely hard to craft and science for it is also very expensive. The easiest way to craft it is with logistic bots. It's not a clean solution, but effective one. When you make your first spider, open it and fill his grid with useful stuff. You should also set a logistic request for him. Customize those tabs to make whatever spider you want, like builder spider, land filler, fighter, runner or DJ. After you design your Aussie, you can quickly copy its layout with shift and right left mouse buttons. Whatever you do with spiders, remember that they have fish as a breath. Bugger. Did you know that in Factorio you can also celebrate Christmas? Thanks to some mods you can put Christmas spirit to your factory. Desert is a great biome to start in, thanks to cold rocks everywhere. However, cold snowy biome better reflect Christmas temperature outside the house and inside it. Yeah. Replace standard science bottles with science gifts to research everything. But the most important is a process of making biters gifts and sending them to your lovely neighbors. In these lovely times, I wish you less bottlenecks, oh shit, no train problems, how? Just how? And plenty of VPSs. Please no, I'm not a console player. I already start hearing the Christmas spirit in the background. So, Merry Christmas and stay safe guys. Who voted for buying guns? Uncle? Did you know that in Factorio you can use inserters smarter? Inserters are the core mechanic in Factorio, so you should use them better. If you want to saturate a belt on 2 sides at the same time, you can either can to find a middle of your production and make a split like this, or place long and short inserters everywhere, so you don't need to count anything. Double long inserters will allow you to quickly connect 2 belts of resources from one side. You should also use correct inserters when you are using high tier belts, otherwise they will simply not work at all. No matter how you place your inserters, never use space to build the fast. Did you know that in Factorio you shouldn't build the rocket silo? It can be tempting to rush toward building a rocket and reaching the endgame as quickly as possible. However, build rocket silo doesn't put you in the endgame stage. If you haven't spent enough time working on early and mid-game stages, your factory probably struggled to produce anything at reasonable rate, what makes rushing toward late game even harder. The real way to win in Factorio is by building a huge working factory without any bottlenecks. If you get to this step, remember to always put tier 3 productivity modules in your rocket. You should also put defenses around your silo, otherwise it can be this fun. Did you know that in Factorio you can place miners smarter? Mining resources and processing them in machines is the goal of Factorio. This is why you should learn more about mining. In the early game you have only burner drills. The best way to use them is by placing a drill and furnace directly on ore. When it comes to coal, you should build a loop of self-fueling drills. In the mid game, remember to place balancer before loading ore to a train. It will make train loading equal and way smoother. In the late game, if you are lazy, you can just use bots to load ores. Or if you care about UPSs, consider direct train loading from an ore patch. Whatever method you use, remember to build a new outpost before you run out of resources to build a new one. Schlamp. Did you know that in Factorio you should use trains? To build trains, you need rails, locomotive, wagons, signals, station and engineer. With those elements you can build stations, intersections or some spaghetti mess. Trains follow a very simple rule. Every signal separates rails into blocks. There can be only one train in a block, so another train has to wait. The real fun begins with rail chain signals which look into block ahead. They allows you to build more complicated intersections. Overall, trains in Factorio are very complicated for beginners, so I recommend you in-game tutorial to learn more about how trains works. It's a pretty nice and interactive way to learn about them. When it comes to your world, just start with simple constructions like this one. And when you get better while playing, simply upgrade it to something better. Whatever you do, you should never stand on the rails. Not even Kokura! Did you know that in Factorio you should prepare blueprints library? Late game in Factorio is great, because you can build huge constructions with ease. However, having tons of blueprints in your inventory is not the smartest idea. Use this button to create blueprints book, then open it with right mouse button. Next, simply populate it with similar type blueprints. For example, nuclear staff book, mall blueprints, rails and trains, or the rest. You can also access blueprints library with B button. Here you can put all your mess. It's also a nice practice to name your blueprints. So when you grab your book and scroll through blueprints with shift scroll, you will see what they are. Don't limit yourself to blueprints. Make books of the construction planners or upgrade planners. Whatever you do with blueprints, remember to make a backup, otherwise... Lana, did you know that in Factorio you must build a mall? Crafting everything by hand is a very time-consuming task. Instead, you should simply grab important items from chests. Mall in Factorio is a construction which provides you with the most important items. The exact items produced in mall are up to you, but you should follow some rules. If you use a specific item pretty often, you should put it in the mall. My extremely basic recommendation are inserters, assemblers and belts. This is a very generic example, but you can also build specialized malls. Here you can craft everything bots and circuits related, or everything needed for the terrain negotiation. Whatever mall you do, remember to limit your chest. Did you know that in Factorio you shouldn't die? Even so, collecting and stockpiling free pistols is awesome. There are simply better ways of creating them. To reduce your dying rate, you should start by using better armor. Those resources spent on armors are simply awesome investments. You should also invest in some energy shields. Thanks to them, you can literally stay on rails and tank the trains. However, the safest way to play Factorio is by using Spidertron. It makes you untargetable by trains and it takes a lot of time to destroy him. Whatever you do, remember... Not this year, guys. The train is full and the series is done. Thank you for being with me and see you in the special speedrun. Oh, holy fuck. Did you know that you can support me like those lovely people? And about that speedrun,